Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Kevin Connors for your third section. You made it so far to 3 sections. Yay! Of the health book. So, maybe you're in a situation where I don't know if I'm autoimmune or not, or I've had lupus for years. I have autoimmune Lyme, or I have MS and Hashimoto's, and struggling with what my doctors told me to do. He put me on a bunch of supplements. I went on these medications, just helped for a little bit, didn't help for a long time. I just don't know what to do. And that's the situation that you find yourself in. Well, we want this book to be a help to you. It can't be everything, but it's going to be a help to you. Make sure that you take advantage of a consultation with myself or my partner, Dr. Halderman, if you need, uh, somebody to talk to about your condition. Call our office. Go to our website down there, connorsclinic.com, and get a hold of us. So we're here for you. You're going to have to fill out some paperwork, um, and uh, and then have a consultation with us. We can discuss your condition. I'll be honest with you. We don't take everybody as patients, but I'll be honest if I think I can help you. So last time I touched briefly on this issues with other organs at part 4. We're going to touch just briefly on that today. And there's a great picture. Is that what your brain feels like? That's what some of my patients claim their brain feels like sometimes. But this brain inflammation is really important because we see this with so many chronic condition patients that don't necessarily have brain symptoms, quote unquote. It's just my joints. Let's say they have rheumatoid arthritis. That's a fairly common autoimmune condition. But if you don't look at what are called the upper motor neurons or the brain tissue, because, okay, give you an example. If I smash my right finger in the doorway, where do I feel the pain? In my right finger, right? Well, actually, if it's in my right finger, I'm actually feeling the pain in my left parietal lobe of my brain because that fiber crosses over, the pain is fired into the sensory cortex of the left parietal opposite parietal lobe. So the brain is connected to everything. So even if I have rheumatoid arthritis, where I might have a local antigen, remember we talked about that, and the inflammation is taking place because of that immune system ramped up locally. So I might have a Th1 dominant response in my joint capsules on whatever joint is inflamed. You can't ignore the brain. It's a key component. And long-standing pain, even from initially local source of inflammation, is going to affect the brain. So make sure that you're treating the brain as well. There's most likely a damaged blood-brain barrier. There's most definitely a damaged gut barrier. So those barriers have to be corrected. Super important. So even if you could magically wave the wand, magic wand, and erase the inflammation in that joint of that rheumatoid arthritis patient, and you don't fix the gut barrier and the blood-brain barrier, you haven't really fixed the patient. So that's a really important factor. You have to look at antibodies to multiple organs as well. That's why this is one of the tests that we do, is this neurological autoimmune screen, which measures all these different antibodies to different neurons, different neural components. And if there are antibodies to those components, if I have an upregulated immune system for any reason whatsoever, I get a cold, I'll have an upregulated immune system. I'm going to be damaging whatever I have antibodies to. So if I have antibodies to myelin sheath, um, uh, glial cells, then I get a cold, I'm going to increase the destruction of myelin sheath glial cells. That's just the way it is. Every time you fire an immune response, you will attack that which you have antibodies against. So if you have circulating antibodies to your own tissue and you fire an immune response, you're going to destroy your own tissue. Now, if you have circulating antibodies to strep and you don't have strep in your body and you fire an immune response for a cold virus, you're not going to destroy anything. That's what you want, circulating antibodies to all sorts of different pathogens. You do not want circulating antibodies to your own tissue. So that's what makes it an autoimmune disease. So remember the definition of an autoimmune disease by reading the first couple sections of this book. An autoimmune disease is when your immune system is turned on against self-tissue. Well, we need to expand that definition a little bit to really understand it. It's when one side of your immune system, either your Th1 or your Th2 side, is turned on against self-tissue because at one point in time there was an antigen in or near that self-tissue that caused an immune reaction that wasn't able to be killed. So normally, you have a cold virus. Your immune system turns on against that cold virus and destroys that cold virus, and the immune system goes back into balance. Well, you have this Th1 and Th2 side. Well, we're going to cover this really in detail as we go through this, but an important point to note here. So you have these two sides of the immune system that should be in balance. When I have an immune system fire against a cold virus, my Th1 side kind of blips up. They're the Marine Corps. They're the ones that are out there looking for an enemy and we're going to kill it. They're carrying around an M16 rifle and they're ready to shoot down anything that they need to shoot down. They're going to protect your body from any pathogens. So cold virus enters into your bloodstream, your Th1 Marine Corps fires off and they get out into the bloodstream and they're looking for enemies and they kill that virus and it goes back into balance and you never even knew you were exposed to a cold virus. That's all well and good. But if my immune system fires against something that wasn't able to kill, let's say it's a Lyme pathogen, let's say it's Borrelia burgdorferi, which is a bacteria in Lyme disease, and it's a gram-negative bacteria that has the ability to hide inside the cells. And my Th1 Marine Corps with the machine guns fire off to kill it, and they're unable to kill it, so they fire off more, and there's more distributed into the bloodstream, and they're going to attack this bacteria, and they're unable to kill it. Well, they're unable to kill it because the bacteria is able to hide on the Marines, sneak inside the cells. The Marine Corps comes back, they're pulled off the line, the Th2 side of the immune system fires, they're going in there to make antibodies. They can't find it to make antibodies against it. You get this blipping back and forth of Th1, Th2 firing, attempting to keep your body healthy. Understand this is a normal immune response. It's doing its job. Your immune system is healthy. It's doing everything it can to keep you safe from harm. But the problem is, it's the antigen, that thing with which the immune system is turned on against, that is sneaky. It's hiding inside the cell. It's staying away from the Marine Corps trying to protect your body. You do this for a period of time, and pretty soon you can start making antibodies against your own tissue. So when that Th2 side fires, it can't find this bacteria that the Th1 side says is out there, and this Th2 side says, well, I can't find it. So it starts making antibodies against your own cells. So depending on where the initial assault of the bacteria was, that's where you're going to get those antibodies being made. And that's why with all autoimmune diseases, they can quote-unquote spread. Well, you used to have Raynaud's, and now you have Hashimoto's, and now it's lupus. Over the course of 15 years, I have all these different autoimmune diseases. Well, really, you really have one. You can name it to whatever tissue is being attacked, but in reality, it's the immune system now developing antibodies against other areas of your body because the antigen was there too. It's still your body's not able to rid your body of the antigen because it either can hide in the cell or it's not even killable. Your immune system turned on against something it never should have turned on against in the first place, like mercury toxicity or something like that. And now you're destroying self-tissue. So you have to do these specialized tests that will show, do I have antibodies against my cerebellum? These are just the neurological tests that we can run. We can run many more. But do I have antibodies against these things? Yes, I do. Now we know what's going on, and now we know how we can start to fix it. So remember, we have to answer those 4 rules. These are my rules. Is it an autoimmune disease? What is the antigen? If it's a mercury toxicity, if we don't get rid of that, you're never going to get better. So, and we'll talk more about that. And then 3, is it a Th1 or Th2 dominant disorder? And number 4, what other organs do we need to build up? If you don't do those things, you are never going to win. Never, ever, ever. All right, I hope you're learning something. I know I'm going really fast, but I promise to keep these videos short. And I'm not doing such a good job, so I'm sorry. Stay with me. We'll be back for the next section in just a few days. All right, bye-bye.